Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today as we get kicking off into 2021, we might want to start looking around at other web browsers. As we know, web browsers are about as good as presidential candidates. There's never a perfectly ideal one. We just have to find the one that sucks the least. And so with that, I wanted to go ahead and update my old web browser videos because it's important to keep up on the latest and the moving technologies. So today I'm going to look at 5 web browsers and what you might want to look at and what you might want to consider when looking at these web browsers in the new year. So let's go ahead and get started in here, and let me go ahead and switch on over to my view so I can see what we're looking at. Number 5. I'm going to do these in 5 to 1 order today. Number 5 is going to be Firefox. Now, originally this one was going to be a little bit higher on the list. The reasoning is Firefox is an open source web browser with a lot of customizability still built into it. There is a whole lot of information, a whole lot of things you can do on Firefox. You can lock it down, you can prevent the notifications, you can make sure that the search engines are customized, and you can block geolocations and things like that, making Firefox pretty decent. Unfortunately, Firefox also, for some people in some political views, should terrify you. And because they just released a blog post this week, which was January 8th, we need more than deplatforming. Now, you have to understand, whether or not you like or dislike certain political views one way or the other, it is a terrifying thing when anybody starts talking about deplatforming voices they do not like. Now, to be clear, we are not talking about things which violate laws as found guilty in the court of law in whatever nation they happen to be in. This is literally, if you read through this blog post, this is literally a political statement wanting to ban voices that they do not like. I'm not going to read all of this. DistroTube did an excellent video on this. You can check out his channel on this. And I just wanted to bring it up here because of this statement, Firefox for me has has been pushed way down on my list because this is absolutely inappropriate. They say, quote, as reprehensible of the actions of Donald Trump are the rampant use of the internet to foment violence, hate, and reinforce white supremacy is about more than any one personality. You've just alienated 50% of the country. Whether or not you voted for Donald Trump, whether or not you like Donald Trump, nevertheless, you disagree with his standpoints. Therefore, you'd like to just deplatform him and completely throw him off of the internet because you don't like what he says. All right. Now, I don't want to turn this video political, and before I lose any of you, just think about what would happen if the opposing political view were to get power and say the same thing. You see, this is what Edward Snowden warned about when he's talking about turnkey government. As soon as one government sets into place a precedent, if some other opposing government with an opposing view goes in, you better believe that those precedents will stay. This is why we have to have a legal entity. So when Firefox starts doing things like this that are highly political, they immediately get moved off. And if there were a better browser, I could throw Firefox off the list altogether, I would probably do that. But for now, we're going to leave Firefox on the last position list. At least you can still, for now, turn on, turn off a lot of features, and you do have a lot of control over the web browser. Now, the second web browser we want to look at is Vivaldi. Vivaldi is a very popular one, particularly among the Linux crowd, and Vivaldi actually, it is not a full free and open source. It has large components of it that are open source. It is based on Chromium. Most of the elements of the UI are proprietary. Some people have a problem with proprietary. Some people don't really care. What Vivaldi brings with it is a unique user experience with a lot of cool options. Now, it's not out yet, but the up-and-coming version of Vivaldi is actually going to have embedded calendars and email. So you can sign up your email accounts on it. It doesn't go to Vivaldi. It's just that your web browser will behave as an IMAP mail client as well, and additionally for calendars. So cPanel email addresses, any type of email addresses that support an IMAP client, Vivaldi allows you to get in there and do that. Clicking on the download button there, I'm not sure why it tried to download stuff specifically. I'm not sure why it tried to download the Windows version. I'm over here on Linux, I promise. But if you head on over, you can actually get Vivaldi on a variety of different places. You can get Windows, Mac, Linux, and you can get an Android version as well. I don't think that they have any Apple versions out there at this point in time. But still, Vivaldi is a very good choice as long as you do not mind a little bit of proprietary code inside of your web browser. I know a lot of my followers do use and like Vivaldi, and I found when I'm not using it on my Arch system, it does seem to work fairly well. There's something goofy about my Arch system that doesn't like most web browsers. So anyway, in the third position, it's moving up in my positions, I gotta say, is Brave. Now, while I have had some issues and some challenges with the company behind Brave, and I still do have a few issues and concerns with Brave, nevertheless, I have to admit that as a web browser for your system, Brave is a very good option. It did have a little bit of a problem with an affiliate code issue. I literally think that was a bug in the code because only one affiliate code accidentally autofilled itself. Other affiliate codes did not do such a thing. So I'm going to give them a little bit of grace on that one. I'm not a huge fan on their BAT. And the reason I have been fairly resistant against Brave is because they raised all their VC capital trying to say, hey, we are just going to do a different type of ad platform. But when they turn around and release the browser, they build it as a privacy browser. And so they raise their money on a different pretense as they market the browser. And to me, that's a little bit fishy. Nevertheless, it does what it's supposed to do. It's a very good browser. It works across most systems, and it has a ton of built-in ad blockers and tracking prevention tools. So if you don't want to mess with extensions or other options in there that will add extra features to the site, Brave browser is a very good choice. It will help to speed up many sites because it's going to be preventing a lot of code and ads and autoplay videos and things from running. So Brave is a very good browser as far as the browser itself. I'm a little leery on the company behind it, but whatever that happens to be with. Another great thing about Brave is it is available pretty much everywhere. You got the Linux builds, you can get it for Windows, you can get it for Mac, you can get it for Android, you can get it for iPhone. Wow, Apple. Yeah, you can get it for Apple, man. And so Brave is in and of itself, it is a very good option to use. Now, number 2 I'm going to put up here is Ungoogled Chromium. Now, I do use Chromium for my production computer. It is the browser that I use with YouTube, but I don't use it for anything else. YouTube, actually, I have signed into the social media accounts, which keeps all my social media stuff separate from that. And I only use the social media accounts to post YouTube videos and other video platform videos as well. And so with that Ungoogled Chromium, as they say here on their site, it is a Google Chromium without the dependency on Google Web Services. It features some tweaks to enhance privacy, control, and transparency, almost all which require manual activation or enabling. And so there are a lot of extra things that you can do. Ungoogled Chromium does remain the default Chromium build. So it's not like Vivaldi or Brave that have completely different user interfaces, different settings panels. If you were to look at Ungoogled Chromium, you would not know it's Ungoogled Chromium unless you happen to know, or you just recognize that several Google services are not working with it. So Ungoogled Chromium is basically like using Chromium, it's just not going to tie in as much to Google. Now, our number 1 web browser that you should be looking at using this year in 2021 is LibreWolf. This one is a new up-and-coming browser based on the Firefox code, and it basically is Firefox with several policies in place to prevent the extra type of data collection, the extra type of experiments, the pocket, all the crap that Firefox has been doing lately that's beyond annoying and stupid. LibreWolf is that old classic Firefox experience on a brand new, shiny new Firefox core. And so you can use this By default, it's going to come with uBlock Origin installed, but it doesn't have anything else as far as that. It does not have DNS over HTTPS, nor does it try and force it on, although it is an option to enable should you want to, and it does have the NextDNS and the Cloudflare options and the customized, of course, as well. It will lock out several of the features that do participate in studies, in tools, and that give you pocket feeds. And so LibreWolf is the best browser I'm looking at for right now. The downside on LibreWolf for you guys out there, they do not have a Windows or a Mac version as of yet, although they say those will come on down the road eventually. Maybe somebody out there knows how to compile those, or if we support the group enough, maybe they will get those out. But as far as the Linux is concerned, if you are on Arch, you can install it from the Arch user repository. That is where I'm running it on my media PC. And here on Linux Mint, where I'm recording this video, I'm actually running it as an app image. So you can get an app image and you can get a Flatpak. The Flatpak is not available in FlatHub, so you just have to download the Flatpak and then manually install it by just calling the Flatpak install, call the name of the Flatpak from your terminal once Flatpak is enabled. So those are my top web browsers for this year. LibreWolf is my number 1, Ungoogled Chromium number 2, Brave would be number 3, Vivaldi number 4, and Firefox is the one that we vote for because So there we have it. Let me know your favorite web browsers this year in the comments down below, and definitely check these web browsers out if you have not checked them out yet, except maybe Firefox. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.